Seeing the body of Cao Yang lying on the wrecked wall, the two participants were shocked and surprised. Qin Shiajun exhaled a humming tone while Lu Sheng wondered if he could go now. Kingsu called Lu Sheng and asked about his plans for training. She informs Lu Sheng that with his points, he can have Kingsu train him personally. Before leaving the room, Lu Sheng thanked the chief for her offer, but he was not interested because he had more important things to do. Qin Shiajun was curious about the more important thing than receiving personal training from the chief commanding officer. The two participants were also get surprised by Lu Sheng's answer. Lu Sheng stopped, turned his head, and informs them that he will go to sleep. The two were puzzled, and Ming Jin's eyes became bigger after hearing this. On the other hand, while Kingsu was also puzzled, Qin Shiajun laughed so hard as if he saw my ass with an abscess that was about to explode. A few moments later, while the guards were carrying the stretcher with Cao Yang's body, the two were observing Lu Sheng, who was now going to enter his room. Seeing this makes Qin Shiajun realize that he was serious about what he said earlier. He really went back to get some sleep. On the other hand, boasting her hot floppy rump in front of my camera, Kingsu wondered what Lu Sheng was thinking, knowing there were no resources inside the dorms. Because it's Qin Shiajun's first time meeting such an interesting gifted one, he suggests letting Lu Sheng do what he wants. Kingsu told Qin Shiajun that he didn't understand and explained that Lu Sheng was like a top-grade grindstone that could stimulate rapid growth for others. Qin Shiajun wondered if she was talking about the grindstone stronger than all the blades out here. Kingsu asks if he can still remember the person Ding Peng back then. Thinking Ding Peng makes Qin Shiajun's chest hurt. Back then, Ding Peng overpowered everyone in the training camp and trampled all of them under his feet. He stated that Ding Peng deserved the title of the king. Kingsu agreed with him and added that the people with physical-type gifts have an enormous advantage over others in the early stages. They can easily hit a combat power of tens of thousands and even defeat enemies above their rank. However, the ability is not just strength alone. There is a skill, speed, observation skill, judgment, experience, tactics, strategy, and so on. In the process of growth and accumulating experience, people who only know how to rely on the power accorded by their physical-type gifts will fade away eventually. She assumes that it might be Lu Sheng's future too. Meanwhile, in Lu Sheng's dream, he was fighting a zombie, and it looked like he was having difficulty defeating this one. The zombie makes another powerful blow. Lu Sheng grabs the zombie's fist and pushes it away. He then pierced its legs, prepared the stellar impact technique, and blew it directly into the zombie's body. After that, he holds the zombie's arm and absorbs its ability. As he did so, he discovered that the zombie was a rank 6 martial artist when it was alive, the same with Chairman Xiao Yu of the Martial Artist Association. He no longer wondered why he had difficulty fighting this zombie. He could have been defeated if he hadn't used all of his psychic energy to block the zombie's attack. Martial arts, combat experience, and different techniques are the true ability he needs to gain from his dreamscape. But human strength is limited, and it's impossible for anyone to be talented in everything. However, Lu Sheng stands on the shoulders of countless people, multifaceted and without flaws or blind spots. Clenching his fist, Lu Sheng claimed that his path in martial arts was the complete martial arts. He then sits and thinks of his psychic energy. If it weren't for this ability, he wouldn't be able to take even a single blow from this zombie. It's a shame that his psychic energy is of the most basic type, and he can only use it against zombies for now. In his current status, Lu Sheng was aware that he is not much for an actual rank 6 martial artist. He then went inside his psychic energy training and focused on the within. Without any external distractions, he needs to engage his inner mind and refine the mind. A dazzling light slowly emerged from the giant Lu Sheng. He was sucked inside, and as he wondered, he was thrown into the core of his mind. As his psychic power and actual body merge, he shouts in pain. Glasses shuddered due to his massive psychic aura. After a moment, he was delighted that he had succeeded in advancing again. Lu Sheng pushed the watch button to summon Ellie and ordered her to retrieve his biography. Ellie followed his order and showed Lu Sheng's biography. He was so glad after learning that he became a rank 7 martial master, and if this were in ancient times, these powers would have been similar to a feudal lord. Even in Lu Sheng's current world, that is a high-status position. Now that he was a martial master, Lu Sheng wondered if his evaluation and perms access had increased too. He then asks Ellie to look up the advanced techniques of stellar body refining art, natural breathing techniques, and crystal visualization techniques. Ellie started to follow his orders, and multiple screens showed the results of the 3 techniques he asked for. Just as he thought, with level 3 perms access, he can now look up higher level techniques. One of the techniques caught his attention. He slowly touched it to see the information, and to his surprise, this was a complete martial arts technique on its own, the divine illumination of the King of Hell. Still in shock while looking at the techniques, Lu Sheng wasn't surprised that the technique wasn't in the combat skill selection because it's an art specially designed for psychic mentalists. It includes techniques on how to use psychic energy, battle tips, and, most importantly, this art is entirely different from other psychic arts. The essence of divine illumination of the King of Hell is to use psychic energy to create another body from within the martial artist. In other words, it's a second self, and the clone is so intricate that it duplicates the martial artist's muscles, cells, and even genes. All of this is just for one objective, to strengthen oneself from all angles without leaving a single opening. The first level of divine illumination of the King of Hell is to use psychic energy to strengthen one's organs and, as a result, amplify one's vitality. And that is precisely what Lu Sheng needs the most right now. Even though he already has ways to amplify his combat power, his vitality is still unchanged, which keeps him from improving. If he can break through this obstacle, he will be able to enhance all of his stats using psychic energy to affect the martial artist's vitality. Lu Sheng admitted that he underestimated the martial arts knowledge accumulated over 10,000 years. Still, in his era, this art wasn't even something that could be conceived, let alone created. After seeing the name of Duan Yifeng, Lu Sheng recognizes him as an exceptional talent in 1 in a million, and his existence is even above among rank 11 powerhouses. Lu Sheng shook his head, knowing that, despite having such people of extreme talent, the destruction of human civilization couldn't be prevented. But Lu Sheng didn't lose hope. Every minute and every second was so precious for him to train hard and give his all to become stronger. 1 month later, inside the psychic room, as Xia Lin closes her eyes, she focuses on her surroundings using her psychic power. Multiple yellow things were simultaneously about to hit her, and it was all destroyed by a purple aura with star cones from her. After crushing all the targets, Xia Lin summoned back her star cones. Suddenly, someone opened the door and commended her for her rapid improvement. It turns out that it was Kingsu, standing before the door with a cross arm. She was delighted that Xia Lin could now control 3 star cones with ease. She asks Xia Lin when she can handle 6 star cones with ease. And when that happens, it means that she has entered the realm of rank 1 mentalist. Xia Lin bows her head before thanking Kingsu for personally instructing her. Kingsu told her that it was nothing. Besides, she was talented. However, Kingsu noticed something. There seemed to be a massive weakness in Xia Lin's mental fortitude. Sweat emerged from Xia Lin, knowing her instructor's observation was accurate. Kingsu asks her if someone has previously left her with mental trauma. Hearing this makes Xia Lin's body tremble, and the gaze of Lu Sheng pops into her mind. She confesses that she is facing mental trauma and asks if there is any way to resolve this. Kingsu answered that it was simple. She needed to find the person who caused the trauma and defeat or kill them. After that, her mental trauma will naturally be gone. Xia Lin was taken aback, with an open mouth, while biting her hand because she knew she had no chance of defeating Lu Sheng. Seeing the weird reaction of her student, Kingsu encourages her that she is now in the midst of rapid growth in terms of abilities and it wouldn't be difficult for her to defeat the person who caused her trauma. Hearing this made Xia Lin think that she may really have a chance to defeat Lu Sheng, knowing that Lu Sheng did nothing but sleep in his room. In the hallway, leaning at the wall, Qin Shaojun asks how Xia Lin is training. With a little disappointment, Kingsu responds that Xia Lin is pretty talented. However, her character is a little soft. Qin Shaojun clarified that not everyone is like Kingsu. Besides, no matter what, he is sure that Xia Lin's character is better than the one he instructs. Kingsu bring out that they taught them all they could do, and only 2 months remained before the camp assessment closed. She then asked if Lu Sheng was still sleeping all day. Qin Shaojun answered affirmatively and added that every time the staff delivered his meals, they would see him just sleeping. He guessed that Lu Sheng was a lost cause. He then laughed and reminded her of what she said when she was lecturing the students. If they wish, they can stay in the dorms and just sleep their days away, and no one will interfere. Kingsu sighed and massaged her forehead. She regretted saying those things. Putting his 2 hands inside his jeans pockets, Qin Shaojun wondered if she would still use Lu Sheng as a grindstone. With a choo-choo train steam and closed fist, Kingsu stated that there was no chance and added that Lu Sheng was not even fit to be used as a stepping stone. She then walked away and ordered Qin Shaojun to train Meng Jin well. Otherwise, Xia Lin might beat him to a pulp during the closed camp assessment. Qin Shaojun made a blah face and told her they were not afraid of her and her student. Meanwhile, in the gym room, standing like a mop model, Yang Yuan wiped her sweat and exhaled her tired. She was interrupted by a cheery girl who just returned to help her. Yang Yuan thanked her, and in response, the girl said it was nothing. Besides, Yang Yuan also helped her the last time. As the girl in a yellow size, she mentions that she envies those who got 100 points, knowing that those points were enough for their expenditure for 2 months. Yang Yuan replies that people like the two of them have to scrimp and save and hold in their hunger just to get by, and there is no comparison. The girl in yellow asks what Lu Sheng has been doing the whole time. According to what she knows, Yang Yuan is close to him. With concerned eyes, Yang Yuan replied that she didn't know. The girl in yellow remembers the day Lu Sheng made such an impact that makes they all cower with his aura, but in the end, it was all over for him the next day. She informs Yang Yuan that Lu Sheng has been shutting himself up in his dorm room all this time, and she guesses the others have already caught up with him. She asks Yang Yuan if Lu Sheng is scared or something. She assumes that Lu Sheng might realize the advantage of strength-type talents will gradually diminish and decide to hide away to enhance the sense of mystery around him. But Yang Yuan thought differently. She knew Lu Sheng wasn't like that. She then turned around and told the girl in yellow to get some rest, and she will do the rest herself. The girl in yellow was confused by her sudden action, and her attention turned outside after seeing some commotion, the people telling others that Cao Yang was about to take on quadruple gravitational force. Hearing this makes Yang Yuan recall that she almost fainted after spending just 20 minutes in a double gravitational force chamber, but quadruple is insane. The girl in yellow grabbed her hand and told her they should also watch. Doing so, Yang Yuan wondered what Lu Sheng was doing right now. Unbeknownst to them, Lu Sheng is doing his best to become stronger to save the world. Inside the gravitation force training room, Cao Yang holds his stand as he endures the triple gravitational level. He was inside for almost 4 minutes. As a result, he broke his earlier record for more than 30 seconds. Cao Yang smashes the button with a heavy hand to stop the system. Before leaving, the people praise him for lasting 4 minutes under triple gravitational force. He sighed as he enjoyed the sweet words. He thought these people were making a fuss over something like this. He wondered how these people would react if he went up to quadruple gravitational force. A man with a bumped fist thinks that Cao Yang will soon be able to take on the quadruple gravitational force, and that no one in this training camp will be his match when he reaches the rank 3 martial artist. Cao Yang scratches his forehead and asks how the guy is doing. The man wondered if he was talking about Lu Sheng and explained that Lu Sheng was still the same. Whenever someone goes to deliver his meals, they'd see him sleeping in bed, and added that Lu Sheng seems to be having wild dreams. Cao Yang elaborates that even though he was no match for Lu Sheng back then, no matter how slow a turtle is, it will still be able to catch up to a sleeping rabbit. Moreover, Lu Sheng has been sleeping for more than a month now. With a turtle in his head, Cao Yang smiled, assuming that he could now match Lu Sheng. Suddenly, he was stunned when Lu Sheng appeared before him and swiftly moved towards the front door. He turned his head to confirm if it's really Lu Sheng, while on the other hand, Lu Sheng was amazed at the gravitational force training room. Cao Yang put his right hand on his waist and told Lu Sheng that he was finally coming out. He asked if he suddenly thought of coming out of his room after a month and then training in the gravitational force. Lu Sheng ignored him and thought he spent so many points just for food. He set the system for 3 hours with level 2 gravitational force and then pushed the start button. Before the door closed, Lu Sheng turns his head, looks at Cao Yang, and asks if it's been more than a month, but just as well, he can find out how much he has grown. Hearing this makes Cao Yang's ear hot, and he can't buy the joke of Lu Sheng. He told Lu Sheng that he was just sleeping for the whole month, yet he expected himself to grow. As the gravitational system is counting down, Cao Yang asks if he is not going to do any warm-ups before entering. While the others are waiting on what will happen, Cao Yang blubber that the gravitational force training room is not a joke. If a person doesn't do warm-ups like Lu Sheng, the sudden external pressure can render a person motionless and easily cause the organs to burst. With a smirk, while touching the glass, Cao Yang wondered if Lu Sheng didn't know the basics or if he was just full of himself. But anyway, Cao Yang expected him to be dead. When the gravitational system announced that it already started, the 2 old monkeys looked closely and wondered what would happen. Upon seeing no slightest reaction from Lu Sheng, they began to confuse. Lu Sheng started to move and make a blow. Cao Yang trembled, the other man shaking, and one of the participants pointed his finger toward Lu Sheng and informed others that it was Lu Sheng. They hurriedly go to see Lu Sheng closely and cheer for him after seeing that Lu Sheng can smoothly move under the gravitational room with such pressure while the other is still in disbelief. Lu Sheng stops from moving, looked at his hand, and felt amazed. He then approached the gravity system and wondered which button he should touch. Outside, Cao Yang wondered if Lu Sheng stopped because he could no longer endure the gravity. Inside, Lu Sheng pushes a button and a loud beep can be heard. The other participants outside cover their ears and wonder what is happening. Cao Yang's mouth and eyes widen after seeing Lu Sheng take on quadruple gravitational force. After confirming the sensation of the increased gravitational force, Lu Sheng gives it a go and puts his palm on the ground. The monkeys wonder what he is trying to do. Lu Sheng slowly positioned his hand, and they were shocked. Sweat emerged from their body after seeing what Lu Sheng did. Meanwhile, after a very tiring training, Zia Lin peacefully walked in the hallway but stopped in front of one of the rooms when she saw so many people. Out of curiosity, she approached the hungry monkeys. who were waiting for me to throw my bananas for them to catch it with their wide mouth. She approached one of the monkeys and asked what he was looking at. She trembled after seeing that Lu Sheng was balancing himself upside down using only 2 fingers with the level of 4 gravity. She turns into a doll stone while uttering the name of Lu Sheng in a questioning tone. On the other hand, the tortoise Cao Yang was sitting in disbelief as he gritted his teeth with tears in his eyes. He couldn't accept that Lu Sheng was so strong, knowing that he just slept more than a month. He was expecting that he already surpassed Lu Sheng by now, but as you can see, the lagging tortoise slowly crawled along but couldn't get past the sleeping rabbit. Inside the gravitational force, Lu Sheng was still unsatisfied with gravity, so he jumped backward to increase the gravity. He pushed the red button, and the people outside shouted in shock, calling the others to come and see that Lu Sheng set the gravity to 5 times. Inside, the handsome Lu Sheng, like me, easily endures the 5 times gravity in natural breathing technique mode using the breath of the earth.